Hello, everybody. I guess that's my entrance music. Look at this. Look. Thank you for coming, everybody. Thank you very, very much. So nice to see you. So nice to see you. In any case, a big movie like this calls for a grand affair like this for a press conference, and that's why I guess I'm here in my Grandmaster of Ceremonies colors and costume, because I'm going to facilitate this hour-long conference in which I hope you'll all leave deeply satiated. Because they're all here, believe it or not, and so without further ado, what the heck is behind our curtain? Don Pardo. Wow. Look at that, Kevin Feige. Look at all of them. Hi, Palm. Hi, Anthony Mackie. Hi, you guys. Oh, Tom Hiddleston. Oh, hello. So here's the way this is going to go. This is you've seen this from many game shows. I'm going to do this. They call this, you know what they call this? I just learned it today. This is the hopper. I'm going to take a ping pong ball, and on these balls are people's names. And if you have a question for one of those people, I will call on you. That's when to raise your hand. Or there may be a category that will suggest one of the people up here for which you may have a question, from which I'm then going to choose. You get the idea? Okay, watch and see if this.
You get it?
See if this falls. How quickly this falls apart. Let's see. All right, let's see. I'm now going to. No, keep it like this. Oh my gosh! My gosh! Robert Downey Jr. Does anybody have a question for Robert Downey Jr.? Yes, sir. I saw your hand go up first. Yes.
Are you going to be in Avengers 4?
Kevin? Wait, hold on a second. He's nodding his head, but let me see what he whispers in my ear. Yes, we already filmed it. Which means I guess I'm. You never know. I got to see in the screening tomorrow. If I die tomorrow, I'm gonna be confused. We'll see.
Excellent question, excellent answer. All right, Joshua Brolin. Okay, I'm doing it blind. I'm not looking. This says, this says you can. This is a category, so you can ask anybody a question who is from Wakanda.
Thank you. My name is Maggie. I'm from Disney Geek. I'm also a high school math teacher in Los Angeles, and my question is for Letitia.
Hello.
So I use a lot of Marvel content in my lessons to keep my students engaged, and I was wondering how you see your role as a really powerful and fun woman on screen in math and science as inspiring kids and teens to pursue STEM fields.
Wow, I think you kind of covered it. It's something that's super new to me, to play this character and to have a character who's just interested in all of these amazing subject matters. I wish I had a Shuri on TV or in the movies that I could see when I was growing up, and I would have stayed in my maths classes a little bit longer. But I'm really happy that the film and this character, Shuri, has allowed young kids to feel like learning is cool, and that they can contribute to the world with, science and maths and technology and engineering, and also young women as well, getting pulled into that whole movement of feeling like it's not just a thing for the guys, it's also for the young women, to young men, young women, old women, anyone to just get into and contribute positively. So to have that, and for you to use it in your classroom, and for many other people to use it too, I'm super grateful, and I just hope it continues. And yeah, it's positive and it's good, and it's a good thing. So thank you.
Very beautiful question. Very beautiful answer. Don Cheadle.
Hi, Mark Hughes with Forbes, and I'm wondering in terms of each character's arc being served in Infinity War, your character obviously had somewhat of a tragic arc the last time we saw in Civil War. Can you talk about...
Thanks, Vision.
Can you talk a little bit about preparing for Infinity War and carrying over that. It's something that, all the characters have tragedies and things in their life, but your character's dealing with something very immediate to have to overcome on top of everything else that's being faced here.
Well, what I think is really great about the having something like this in a way to anchor a lot of the other things that are happening in the story and getting to continue it forward through both of the films is that we always get to have these sort of down notes in a good way. I think there's always a lot of eye candy and very dramatic things happening and big spectacular fights and really amazing things that we see on screen. And then it comes down to these characters in their interpersonal situations with one another and their personal journeys that they have. And where it comes to Rhodey, I'm glad that this is something that's carried through and that is, wasn't just dropped. It's a line that is actually goes through both of the films and comes into play in a very important way. I won't give it away, but it's something that factors in all the way through. So it's nice to have something that's cohesive and continues and keeps me grounded and keeps the character grounded.
Totally blind. Mm-hmm. Hey, so you can ask a question. If you have a question for somebody who wears a cape.
I have a question for Chris Hemsworth, because I'm a big Thor fan. What scene did you find most challenging to film for this movie, and why? Was it because of the people in it? Was it because of the director? Or was it, just anything like that?
It's all very difficult because of the directors and the people in it, this whole film. It's an awful experience. So myself, Jeff, and Tom are going back to our own movies from now on. The most difficult. The first day was what you've seen on the trailers. It was Thor meeting the Guardians, and it felt like kind of first day at school for me, because they all knew each other, and I didn't, so I was a new kid, and they'd all been shooting, and I hadn't, and I had some weird sort of nervous butterflies floating around my body, and but it was, but I squeezed them out of me, Chris Pratt gave me a big hug, and all the butterflies flew to my ears, and. We had this whole film for me was I felt like a fan and meeting a lot of these people and the characters that I'd watched on screen and admired, and so to be on screen with them as Thor but as Chris also was pretty damn exciting.
Okay. Kevin Feige.
If there's anything you use to sort of ground these movies in their origins beyond just the characters and the stories, anything visually, anything thematically that you've used to sort of pull all this together?
Well, you will not be surprised to hear it's the comics. It's the comics that we look at usually when there is just the notion of let's do an Iron Man movie or let's have the audacity to try to do a version of the Infinity Gauntlet. It starts with those comics and us beginning to rip pages out or rip copies of pages out, put them on the walls and start to be inspired. And in every single movie we've made, up to and especially Infinity War, there are direct images, storylines, rarely but sometimes actual lines of dialogue that come from those pages that we've put up around our development room for inspiration. And with Infinity War in particular, when there were so many characters and so many threads of storylines from so many movies that we could have pulled from or could have used as inspiration, and we did. We kept going back to, and I think we've released some behind-the-scene videos and things, and you can see the giant omnibus of the Infinity Gauntlet there with all sorts of dog-eared pages and Post-its in there from moments. And after everybody sees the movie, we can talk more specifically about what those moments were. Most of them were surrounding Mr. Brolin's Thanos portrayal that came directly from Jim Starlin's work there. So it is always a guide point. It's a North Star for us as we lead these giant productions into reality, or right from those books and where it all started.
Ask a question or volunteer to be considered for being called on for a question. If you are green.
This is for Zoe Saldaña. Because this, from what we heard, stories told from the Thanos point of view, part of it. And obviously I wanted to know how that dimension sort of pushed your portrayal of Gamora forward, because obviously it's a sort of very emotional, psychological journey for her. So if you could talk about that.
Well, echoing what Dawn was saying, that besides, these kinds of movies carrying so much action and entertainment and visual effects that really cater to all of our senses, we wouldn't be what we are, I think, in the Marvel universe if it wasn't for those emotional beats that all of these interrelationships carry, and that obviously in this that thread involves a relationship between parent and child. And I will speak on behalf of also Karen Gillan's character, Nebula. We had so much fun with the arc that the Russo brothers and obviously Kevin Feige, spearheading this, with the relationship that these daughters have with their father, because they finally get an opportunity to sort of address what it was like to have a dad that's so complicated. So it was fantastic. It was great.
Oh my gosh, so nobody foresaw this. I think this may be, well, I don't know. This is Zoe Saldana. This is Zoe Saldana. Zoe. Oh! Yeah.
Zoe, my question is, we got to see you first, and then you get to see everybody as Black Panther has happened, people of color joining in these superhero roles, and you were just so trend-setting and so ground-setting for me to see somebody like you on screen. And so when I saw the Black Panther universe added in, I was overwhelmed. How do you feel knowing that we, as people of color, are receiving more and more representation in this Marvel universe?
I'm happy. I'm super, super happy to be an American right now, to be in the entertainment industry, to be considered a public figure, and to also be given the opportunities by leaders such as our studio heads when they take on the task of broadening the narrative for our stories. It's plain and simple. I think that as actors, regardless of our race and our gender, we just want to be given an equal opportunity to be able to be chameleons and continue growing and connect with our audiences. So when directors and writers and producers understand that change needs to come from within, and as public figures, we have the responsibility to take the lead in broadening that narrative, it just makes someone like me, who would be nothing but a positive recipient, super happy, because I know what that means for our future generations. I have 3 sons, and nothing is making me happier. I keep saying happy, but it's true, to know that they are going to inherit an influx of storytelling through media that represents them and makes them feel seen and heard, and that their lives and their heritage matters, but only through their merits. Yeah. So that I'm just really happy about that.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Mr. Cumberbatch, you have said in a few interviews that you have read the script, but the Russo brothers also said that no actor has read the real final script. So I just want to get to the bottom of that. Thank you so much.
I read a script. Whether I read the script is for them to know. And me to find out when I see the movie tomorrow. But whatever script you read, it's never the film, is it? So it always changes, and these guys plus it every day, sometimes after the day, sometimes we'll be probably replussing this in December, even after the film is out. They never stop at this wheelhouse. It's a busy place to work. And so whatever I read is not necessarily what you're going to see. So I could tell you stuff about it, but it wouldn't make any difference.
I knew it. I don't know how I knew it. Chadwick Boseman. I knew it.
Hi, Chadwick. I know we have to wait a long time for Black Panther 2, but how much of Avengers Infinity War is at least Black Panther 1.5?
Avengers Infinity War is Avengers Infinity War. It's not Black Panther 1.5 or Black Panther 2 or anything like that. I think we have a strong presence within the movie, and it was great to have some of these people, not gonna say who exactly, in Wakanda. But it is its own movie, and it was great to go from what we did and with Black Panther, and bring some of that into Avengers. It was a relief, actually, but it's its own thing.
Anthony Russo. Anthony Russo.
My question is, will we see Agent Coulson come back for the Avengers?
All these unanswerable questions. When we began developing this movie, we sat in a room with Kevin, Joe, and I, Marcus and McFeely, the writers, and we had a picture of every single person who's been character that's been in the MCU, and we hung it up on a wall all around us, and we basically spent months and months and months talking about where we could go with each character, how we could draw them through the story, thinking about every one of these characters, everybody on this stage has been on a very specific journey through the MCU to arrive at this moment. And it was a very long creative process that we went through, thinking about where we could take the story, where we could take the characters, how we can combine the characters in interesting ways. And it was about the most fun, creative exercise I think I've ever been through in my life, because it was just us sitting in a room for months and months, telling each other stories about these characters, 99% of which didn't make their way into the movie. But I will say that was our process. We thought about everybody in the MCU. We thought about how they could play a role in the story moving forward. And starting tomorrow, you will see the movie.
Who has a question for Elizabeth Olsen? Yeah. Elizabeth Olsen.
I recently heard that you would love it if Scarlet Witch got her own films. So what do you think Scarlet Witch could bring to the table if she did have her own solo film?
I would feel thrilled. I mean, we've got like Kevin Feige sitting right in front of me. Paul and I joke a lot about how much we would love to do like a House of M spinoff and a really domesticated indie version of it. And I think that would be a lot of fun. That part of her story is the reason why I love this character so much. And I mean, I'm just happy that I'm still included, so I don't need my own movie, Feige. Please just bring me back all the time. This is truly the greatest cast, and we get to work with the best crew, and we get to work with people who are the best at their jobs. And so there's nothing like this experience anywhere else, and we're all very lucky to be here and enjoy each other's company all the time. That's it.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. Deny.
I've heard rumors that some of the women in the Marvel Universe have pitched Mr. Feige an all-female Marvel movie. What can we talk about that?
No, I know no details on that. I was just thinking how excited I am about Brie Larson, who's shooting Captain Marvel right now. And how that's going to be a pretty awesome venture. But I mean, the awesome thing that I think is happening, that we see happening across many dimensions in our entertainment industry, is we're seeing more women take the helm in various realms. And that is not only about time, but it'll make the world a better place, I think. So I'm looking forward to the future.
Thank you so much, Avengers Infinity War cast. Thank you, press people. This is the best time I've ever had in my whole life. Thank you. Robert Downey Jr.
Thank you, Jeff.